to start, excuse me, also going to start our recording. All of these are recorded and kept on file at the city. Okay, let me go ahead and get everyone checked in. It looks like we have, is it Autry? If you could unmute, on your screen and just
Morning.
confirm. So you're the applicant and owner of the property?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and did I come close on the name or?
You actually did pretty well. It's Faisal Khatri, yeah.
Khatri, okay, great. I'll do my best to try to pronounce that correctly.
I'm sure it's been butchered worse before, so.
Yeah, I guarantee that. And will both of you be speaking during the hearing?
I will not.
Okay.
Just
Okay, great. All right, welcome. And then I see we also have the zoning administrator for the city of Cincinnati who's here, Emily A. House. Welcome, Emily. All right. I am going to, let's see. I need to read through our hearing script, which will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll be able to get started. So just give me 1 minute while I pull that up.
Oh, that'll be at the end.
Okay, so this is the July 5th, 2023 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. Again, I'll be presiding over this hearing. The case number for us today is case number ZH20230098. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented its case. In the event of any technical difficulties, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. I will give the zoning department an opportunity to provide any testimony in addition to the staff report that was provided. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, then you need to be sworn in. And so if that's you, if you could take yourself off mute, it looks like we're good there. If you could raise your right hand, I need everyone to answer out loud. You solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right, I think we're ready to get started. Mr. Khatri, would you like to go ahead and get us started here? Tell me about the project and what kind of relief you're seeking.
Sure. Should I just read the statement that I submitted? That would be complete. It's a one-page statement if you'd like to hear that.
Sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that on the record.
Okay, so there's planned an in-ground swimming pool in the backyard of the residence at 1005 Burton Avenue. The pool is to be approximately 16 feet in width and 40 feet in length, and the depth shall range from 2 feet at the most shallow end to 4 feet, and then transitioning to 8 feet depth at the deep end, which will require excavating a little bit beyond 8 feet to accommodate. So for purposes of this statement, the front of the house is referred to as the north, and the backyard and the down slope is referred to as the south and the southerly direction. The planned pool is to be set back approximately 26 feet away from the rear, the south facing wall of the house, In the direction of the east, the left view, the end of the pool is to be located approximately 14 feet from the adjacent lot property line. And that lot also belongs to me. It's my property. And that's a grassy open yard. 60 feet further to the left is the property line abutting the neighbor's property. On the right side, the westerly direction, the distance from the neighbor's property line to the planned pool is approximately 25 to 30 feet. Both of these neighbors are in support of the pool project. They have no objections. We've spoken to all of our neighbors. The distance from the southmost edge of the pool to the rear property line is greater than 65 feet. And the property abutting the pool property has no buildings, and that property abutting the rear of the pool property also belongs to me. The terrain is a gentle sloping, decreasing grade as we move away from the house in the backyard towards the southerly direction. In order to establish a level pool and 5 to 6 foot deck of concrete, there is a 6 foot to 7 foot retaining wall at approximately 20 feet distance from the rear wall of the house. The pool deck will begin at that point beyond that 7 foot retaining wall. And that's all included in the drawings. And the pool deck will be close to level with the grade elevation at the southerly edge of the pool deck. A geotechnical engineer was consulted, and a geotechnical report was performed and completed by Mr. J. Matt Naylor. That is also included with the application, and it shows that the ground has not moved and is not moving and is stable. There's a concrete foundation for a greenhouse that was built decades ago, but shortly after the 1880 building of the house. And that foundation has not moved in decades, at least, perhaps a century, I'm not sure. Despite the foundation serving as the retaining wall of sorts back there. And it demonstrates the hillside to be stable. And that entire report by Mr. Naylor was included with the application. There's no plan to raise the elevation at all. We only plan to cut into the ground and to remove dirt. There's plenty of flat surfaces on the property to deposit the excavated dirt. All owner neighbors within 100 feet of the residence have been consulted, and they're all in support. No objections were raised of the project, and we included their written statements and signatures with the application to the best of my knowledge. And according to the geotechnical engineer who did the hillside geotechnical analysis and attached report, the project is compatible with the terrain contours and hillside stability considerations. We seek relief variance from the excavation limit of 8 feet, as the dig is probably going to go a little bit beyond that on the hillside, since the deepest portion of the pool is about 8 feet. And in order to have the fiberglass liner and some gravel underneath, there will need to be just a little bit more digging involved beyond that. But other than that, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that. I may have a couple questions, but before I get into any of those, I'm going to let Ms. Ahouse provide any testimony if she would like.
So Wes Mundell, who wrote the staff report, is out of the office today, and his staff report does a really detailed analysis that explains, why we're recommending approval of this proposed hillside review. Generally, there's no feasible way to construct a pool with a deep end on this site and meet the cumulative excavation and fill requirements, since you are limited to a total of 8 feet of cumulative excavation and fill. But the way this pool has been designed, we're finding that it's overall consistent with the hillside development standards and the spirit and intent of those requirements. So that's why we're recommending approval.
Thanks, Emily. Okay. I think you covered this, Mr. Khatri, but it looks like this project, that there wouldn't be any cliff-like vertical slopes or excessively high retaining walls as a result of this.
No, I don't think so.
Is the largest single cut, is it 11 feet? Is that right? Is it for the deep end?
I don't think it would even go 11 feet. It's 8 feet deep at the deepest end, and I don't think they need more than a foot to a foot and a half under that to fill with gravel in order just to stabilize the ground at that point.
Gotcha. Okay, but to be clear, you would need approximately 13 feet cumulative cut and fill across the site. Is that right?
Well, if you include the retaining wall, yes. But that, I mean, that's been submitted and approved already. The retaining wall has. So.
Right. Okay. I don't think I have any more questions. Is there anything else in closing or otherwise you'd like to provide before we adjourn here today?
If there's any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them as best as we can. But I believe I've provided as much information as I have available to you.
Okay, great. Let's leave it at that then. I've had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report, and I think based on that and based on the testimony that I've heard here today, I am going to approve the requested relief. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. I think that's realistic based on just the queue of cases I have. The summer's a little bit busier for us over here, but I'll do everything I can to get that out to you as soon as I can. As soon as I finish that, I put it into a PDF and I email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. So you'll really have it just moments after it's complete. As soon as you have that PDF, you can work with Wes or someone else in the zoning department to get that zoning approval on their end, and then hopefully you can move forward at that point.
Thank you. Wes was very helpful in the process. We appreciate it.
Great, fantastic. We'll pass that along to him. Well, if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to myself, or I'm sure Emily would be happy to answer questions as well. If you'd just like a status update on where I'm at with the decision, also feel free to reach out to me directly and I'll be happy to give you an update.
Mr. Sturkey, just a quick question. We should expect the documentation for the approval here in a couple of weeks. Are we clear to schedule with the excavation company, the pool company, the installers, for beyond that 2-week period at this point?
So I asked Emily to unmute just because you will be clear from a zoning perspective. If there are any other building department requirements or permitting that needs to happen here, and I don't have it pulled up to see exactly if you do, but assuming that all other permitting is taken care of, then there's no outstanding permits you're waiting for from building or approvals from buildings, then I would say yes. Emily, are you able to look at that?
And I was going to say, I can pull up the permit status right now. It does look like this is just waiting on zoning. And then your contractor will need to be registered, but that's really sort of an end of the permit process. So once we have that final written decision, we can approve the permit. There's typically, it does sometimes take a couple of days from when that final approval goes in until the permit is issued. But once you have that permit issued, you'd be free to start work.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I wouldn't put it right on the 2-week mark. Maybe give yourself a little buffer there. But just in terms of being able to move forward at this point, it sounds like you cleared all your hurdles, so you will be able to do that. Again, just need to formalize it with that written decision.
Mm-hmm. So we'll I'm thinking about at least 3 weeks out then from this point forward. And then in a couple of weeks, I'll follow up with the department to see as far as getting the documentation, the permit in actuality.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Again, if you have more questions, just feel free to reach out to us. We'll have to help, and hopefully you get some use out of the pool this year.
I agree.
We would love that.
Well, the kids keep asking every day how it's going, so we can give them a final word today that we have some sort of a timeline established now. So we appreciate that.
Hopefully that helps you over there. And like I said, I'll get it out to you as soon as I can.
All right. I appreciate